Hey love, I'm so glad you're here. I had to show you how I got these springtime nails using Polygel and update you on my prepping routine for long-lasting sets. So I'm going to show you how I got these beautiful nails from start to finish. Let's get into it. So here are my natural nails. I'm going to do all these steps to all of the nails, but I'm just going to show you on my thumb. The first thing I'm going to do is use my Utopia cuticle pusher to push back the skin around my cuticle. I'm being very gentle as I do this. And then you're going to see me switch to the other side, the scraper tool, and that's to remove the dead skin that's on the nail plate. To tidy up the cuticle area, I'm going to use two bits. The round bit is for the surrounding skin and the skinny needle bit is for the dead skin on the nail plate. So starting with that at 3000 RPMs, I gently go between the skin and the nail to remove the flakiness. And for the surrounding skin, I like to use the round bit, but there are other tools you can do to clean up this area, like using scissors or cuticle nippers. I prefer using the round bit because I can clean up the skin that I push back, plus any hangnails that might be on the surrounding skin. So I've been experimenting with this portion of the prep lately, so I'm using the LionVision XL Coffin tips. And the first thing I do is size them out. I make sure that it reaches both sidewalls. That is when the skin meets the nail. You don't want it to be too wide or too narrow. So once I have them all sized out, I go back and finish up the prepping process. So I've been loving using the slimmer sanding band versus the traditional one. However, they both get the job done well. And both of those sanding bands are from Susie. So I carefully go around my cuticle, and I love this bit specifically for the cuticle because it just fits so perfectly. And then I also go over the entire nail to remove the shine while being careful to not overfile. So now I'm going to prep and prime with the Modelones Dehydrator and Primer in that order, and I'm using one layer of each. So I will prepare you. The next step is not the traditional method of gluing the tips, which is why I prepped and primed everything first. I'm going to use a combination of the Gellen base coat and their functional gel, which is pretty much a builder gel in a bottle like you would use for a Gel X set. Similarly, I'm also going to use a gooseneck LED lamp. Okay, stay with me. So I have been loving applying the base coat to my nail like normal and applying the tips like Gel X by using a little bit of that functional gel on the inside of the tip. Then I line it up from sidewall to sidewall and I cure instead of gluing. So I kind of adapted the Gel X method and used it for applying my tips, and then you're going to see me just trim the length. I've been loving doing this. I feel like it's just quicker, I get a better application, no crooked nails that pop off, and it gives me more longevity in my sets. I'm just sharing what's been working for me, so if you're open to it, maybe give it a try, and of course, if not, that is okay. So I did that to the rest of my nails, and now we're jumping into the application. The polygel brush I'm using is from an EV polygel kit. I'm using 91% alcohol as my slip solution, and the Makartt Nude polygel in the color A Siesta, my favorite. So for this design, I'm going to need 3 of the nails to be covered in nude. So I'm starting by applying a tip bead. I always pat my beads from sidewall to sidewall before I begin to fit the bead to the tip of the nail or to my natural nail. So you see me patting the product up to the tip, and as I start to bring that product up, I use patting and dragging motions, kind of like a mixture. I pat and drag, and then you also see me pushing that polygel back onto the tip if I see that it's kind of getting a little bulky on the sides, just so that I don't have to file the shape as much. I'm trying to follow the shape of the tip as much as possible. Then I'm blending the bottom lip of the product to smooth it out a bit so that there's not a big lip when I'm trying to do the next bead. I'm curing this for 60 seconds before I do the structure bead. So this structure bead, I place it towards the middle of the nail where I want it to be the strongest. Again, I'm moving it from side to side before I start to fit it to my natural nail. My goal with this bead is to try to leave the majority of the product in the center of the bead. I begin to bring the product up towards that first bead and then I smooth it into that first bead. Now I'm gently bringing the bottom portion of that bead to the cuticle area. I take my time and I use a lot of slip solution because I'm intentionally leaving a small gap so the product does not touch my nail. So I bring down a little bit at a time, and then when I'm done, I slide my brush around the edges to make sure no product is touching my skin. So I call the second bead the structure bead because it creates the apex structure, which is a thin, smooth cuticle, the thickest point being in the middle at that stress point where it could break, and thinner towards the tip. I cure this for 60 seconds and then do the same thing to the other two nails that need to be solid. While I do that, let's discuss the elephant in the room. So this is my first video that I've posted in about 2 years. I definitely did not expect my break to last this long. I originally paused on my channel to focus on finishing my degree and starting my career, and life just happened. But I still love teaching others how to do their nails at home and save some coins. So the goal is to come back better than before and to try to post about twice a month. So I'm so happy to be back and I'm so happy you're here. This is what the nails are looking like before and after being cured. So my inspiration for this set is from Ali Did It. I love the colors and how she encapsulated the glitter and the butterflies into the clear matte nail. That's what I'm taking inspo from. I'm not fully recreating it and making it identical. I'm using some butterfly stickers, point tweezers, gold and silver glitter, and the same base coat from before. I'm applying the base coat where I want the curvy glitter line to be placed. Then you're going to see me use this metal cuticle tool to sprinkle the glitter onto the wet gel. And then I just cleaned up the shape with the other side of my cuticle tool. And now I'm placing down those sticker butterflies. And I did that to both of the nails that are going to be encapsulated in clear. The clear polygel I'm using is from the Pine Polygel brand, which is not my favorite, but I made it work. It was just super sticky and hard to manage, even though I was using a good amount of slip solution. So if you guys would be interested in seeing how I cover a nail with one bead versus two, like I did earlier, just let me know in the comments down below, because it's just no point in explaining how I did it right now. It was just so difficult to work with, but I did manage to cover the nails fully in clear. And once I got to that point, this is what they were looking like after curing. I'm just removing that sticky residue with a lint-free wipe and some alcohol. And now it's time to file. I'm using my Kiara Sky 100 grit hand file, and I'm using a fine 5-in-1 drill bit along with a sanding band for afterwards. So I'm just going along the edges and trying to clean them up. I'm already in a coffin style, so it's just kind of making sure all the straight edges are nice and crispy. Now to file the surface of the nails, I'm using my e-drill at about 9,000 RPMs and my 5-in-1 drill bit. First I go around the cuticle. I like to seal that in. I had a little bit of spillage, so I really made sure that I was cleaning up anything that wasn't that smooth cuticle shape at the bottom. And then I like to do up and down motions to debulk the nail. And then I do side to side motions to smooth out the nails from the up and down motions. Now I'm switching to my sanding band. I'd use this at about 4,000 RPMs. And again, I'm doing the same thing where I go around my cuticle and then I just do the side to side motions because it's just to smooth out the nail. So now that the nails are all filed, it's time to add the design. What I really love about this design is that it's super beginner friendly. I'm using some gel polish from the brand Not Polish, and all I'm doing is making some lines and filling in the shape. The curved lines are easy to make, and this design looks very fancy and put together and polished, but As you can see, it's very simple. If you're not the best with line art and painting designs like this, you can just kind of paint the corners and use a Q-tip to wipe clean the excess product. And I went ahead and did 2 coats of this. I did the second coat off camera. To add to the springtime theme of the look, I'm adding some white flowers and I'm using Makartt rhinestone glue. I always apply the glue where I think I'm gonna put the gems, and then I do a top coat on top of that. I want the nails to be matte, so of course I'm using a matte top coat. It's from Melody Susie. So I'm placing those flowers into the wet gel, and I'm just gonna clean up the placement before I cure. So something about these flowers, every time you put them in the lamp, they will come out and change color. I believe it's from the heat, but it always goes back after it kind of cools down for a minute, so don't mind the color change. I'm using a little dot of that rhinestone glue on the inside of all of the flowers so I can apply those beads in the middle. I always love to top coat the top and bottom side of clear nails, so I'm using a glossy top coat on the bottom to help with transparency and clarity, but I still want the top to be matte, so I'm using that Melody Susie matte top coat again. After doing a final cure and adding some cuticle oil, this is what the nails are looking like. They are stunning, perfect for springtime, and fairly easy. So I'm hoping that you guys found some inspiration in this or just enjoyed watching the process. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!